Maybe eventually it'll get finished. Oh, back to 20. Back to 20. Oh, 25 now.
The force is strong with this one. It increases in time.
I sense
the
a
longer
disturbance
you
in the
wait.
force. I sense a disturbance in the force and the Wi-Fi connection.
Yes.
Actually, it's all just the disk at this point, so... I sense a disturbance in the hard drive.
Alright. Beginning. Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Star Wars. Sith.
Star Wars.
Legacy.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to the Midweek Report. I'm Nick. This over here providing the gameplay is Justin.
Oh, there.
And today, as you might have guessed from our usually mentally questionable intro, is we're talking about Star Wars today. Just get right into the dark meat. Cut right to the dark meat. So, what about Star Wars? Well, for those who don't know, recently a new trailer dropped for Star Wars The Old Republic. What would you call it? A decently old MMO at this point? It's like back from the MMO golden age, I would
Yeah,
really say.
it's a few years old, but it's still got a lot going for it, so it's definitely still running. It's still running well and strong.
Made by BioWare and EA. You know, back when BioWare was still a god company. And that talent still kind of reflects in the game to this day. It is one of the last true passion projects of, or not passion projects, one of the last true bastions of BioWare talent, or at least a showing of BioWare's old talent. But, you know, that's another story.
Well, it's neither here nor there.
That's neither here nor there, indeed. Recently, they dropped a new trailer for the 10th anniversary of the game, which I wasn't even aware of. This game is now 10 years old, a decade old. That would, if my knowledge of the internet and gaming history is correct, put it within the golden age of the MMO. You know, back when WoW was still a thing and everyone and their mother was trying to capitalize on it by making their own MMO. Some succeeded, some didn't. We're kind of in that right now with, I don't want to say looter shooters, but... what is it? What's the... In a way... Not MMOs, but, well, MMOs for console, actually, I think is the best way of doing it. We're kind of in that stage for console MMOs right now, where everyone and their mother is trying to get a console MMO.
Yeah.
Anthem is a clear example of that. May it rest in pieces.
Rest in pepperoni.
Honestly, but, it's sad, though. It was a good idea. I like the idea of flying around in an Iron Man suit. I pre-ordered that game and played it. It was fun. It was just hogged by so many bad mechanics and stuff like that. But it was a fun concept. I enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
Anyways, still, moving back to Star Wars. This is a game that, like I said, is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. Again, way back from the golden age of MMOs for computers, back when everyone was trying to capitalize on the WoW success. This was one of the games that came out of that, and it still endures to this day as a successful game. So what exactly are we talking about? Well, recently, said expansion is called Legacy of the Sith. And truth be told, I have no idea what it's about, because the expansion trailer released yesterday, and the game released, the expansion itself released today.
Who's the big shot around here?
So, unlike modern MMOs, I guess, or unlike things like Destiny, which spoil its campaign years in advance, this one didn't tell you much.
Yes.
All it seems to show is
a
an
hidden story. You can't know nothing. You know nothing. You see nothing.
You see nothing, you know nothing. All it kind of shows is what looks to be an elderly Darth Malgus, which is kind of one of the big, I don't want to say antagonists in this game, because here's the thing. Protagonist and antagonist will really just depend on which side of the moral line you fall on, because the thing about Star Wars The Old Republic is you can either play as the light side of the Force or the dark side of the Force characters. So I could play on the dark side of the Force with like a Sith Lord of some sort, or a bounty hunter, or a Sith agent, or an Imperial agent, or I could play with the Jedi, being a Jedi Knight, or a Jedi Counselor, or a smuggler, stuff like that. So antagonist and protagonist just really kind of depends on who you ask.
Yeah,
But he's one
and
of the
the other
big
part about it too
characters.
is you can kind of play as like a Jedi, but an evil Jedi. So you can do stuff like that. There's a
I
little
am
bit
a
of
morally deprived Jedi.
yeah, it's like there's a little bit of mixing and matching with it, just not that much, but there's a little bit.
And by that token, you can play as a morally good Sith, which doesn't pull any favors in the Empire.
But you can.
You can.
You
You can.
can.
You can play as a nice guy Sith, which is kind of interesting. I've actually done that on some of my playthroughs. But anyways, I'm kind of like middle ground Sith. I'm not completely evil. I'm just like evil when I need to be.
I'm not gonna go out of my way and kill everyone and anyone because I know if I do that, then I'm not gonna have any soldiers of my own, and everyone's gonna be way too fearful of me to the point where they don't even want to serve me because they know I'll probably just kill them anyway.
That's the nice part about
kill
being a
when
Sith.
I need to.
I mean, that's the nice part about being a Sith. You can be a good guy or a bad guy, and then you can tell anyone who doesn't like that to fuck right off.
Yes.
It's a nice middle of the road. But anyways, Jedi can't do that. Too many morals. But anyways, moving on.
Apparently.
Legacy of the Sith came out today. Big expansion. Again, the trailer itself is really cool. I've always found Star Wars: The Old Republic has really cool trailers. Like, they're very beautiful and very cinematic, well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, it is from the age of BioWare's glory days, so that does shine through still in these trailers. Excuse me while I take a bite of a donut.
Yeah. My consumption is required.
Mm-hmm. Never let it be said that this stream wasn't authentic. At the very least.
It's not genuine.
Off-the-cuff script work. Off-the-cuff reviews. No script, no pre-plan. We have a topic, we find it, we talk about it, and we just go wherever the heck the conversation takes us.
Yes.
Which, speaking of conversation, back to, like I said, the Old Republic. Again, very beautiful trailer. It really does show the kind of... It's one of the nice... I never thought I'd say this, but it's actually something nice that came out of EA. I know, I can't believe it either.
What? Good?
EA made something that isn't a cash grab? Surprising!
What do you mean?
This was back when EA was at least semi-moraled. I know, such a time did exist. We call that the prehistoric era.
The golden age.
Honestly, back when EA was not complete scum. Feels like a fantasy now to say that, doesn't it? Back when EA was not complete scum.
Yeah, well.
Man, if only I could warn 3-year-old me what they would become. True story, I used to like that company. True story.
Once
upon a time. Back when they were still doing things like Spore and stuff like that.
Well, clearly they've got a new expansion that's out now. People can probably start playing that.
Mm-hmm. They can start playing that.
They can.
They can.
I actually thought about going and like buying a subscription. Then I remembered, wait a minute, Witch Queen's coming out next week. And...
Well, didn't you pre-order it?
Yeah. Though
What do
I'm
you
not.
want
I'm
about
not gonna start playing Witch Queen right away though. I'm not gonna start playing it on day one like I did Beyond Light. It's just gonna be a lag fest. It's gonna take forever to load in.
They might, but I think they're working on it, so it won't be too terrible. It'll still be probably a little bad.
No matter
but...
what, day one is gonna be crazy, and I've got if they're gonna be doing the same thing that they did with Beyond Light, where everything's going to like literally be a year. I'm pretty sure waiting a few days ain't gonna go and kill me.
At least the raid will be out by then.
Yeah, it's like I'll wait a few days, let everything settle down because everyone's gonna be on there and want to go and look at the cutscenes and stuff, and I'm gonna sit here and like, all right, I'm gonna wait because I actually want to be able to see the cutscene rather it lag out. But you know,
the advantage of being the editor, you don't have to constantly troll through YouTube and possibly spoil games for yourself while you're looking for content for the show.
Yes.
You get a nice job. But That's the thing. That's the thing. Like when it comes to big AAA games, if I want to play them, I typically play them like as soon as I can. Not just because of things like FOMO and shit like that, but also because it's not fear of missing out, it's fear of being spoiled. Why? Because I know what the internet is like. If I don't see it probably when it's, pretty fresh, it'll be all over the internet by the end of the week. So I want to
It's like I want to see.
I don't like
before,
spoiling
I don't want to get it
stories.
spoiled to me. Get spoiled
Honestly.
anyways. No.
Honest. No.
You dare spoil my game?
Honestly, I'm a big story buff, so I don't like it when things are spoiled that I really wanted to enjoy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, still. New story
But
out
still.
for Star Wars.
New story. Apparently, this is part of their 10th anniversary, like I said, so there might be more stuff down the line for the game.
Well, I'd be willing to bet there's plenty down the line. So.
There's probably going to be plenty. And honestly, I think it's taking its place alongside things like World of Warcraft at this point, where it's a game that's successful to the point where it has its dedicated community, and I think that's only accentuated in recent years with the I was about to say success, the crashing failure of the sequel trilogy, where everyone's kind of looking for that thing that is still authentically Star Wars. And true, I'll give Disney credit where credit is due. They are making things better now that they're actually trying to be competent and giving it into the hands of people who actually know what they're doing. Yeah, surprising when you give things to people who don't know what they're doing. You produce garbage. Surprising, right? But
well, yeah. You can only hope that they do keep going the right way with the Star Wars and they actually plan on making money. But for right now, the Old Republic is in a good spot, and it's continuing to be in a good spot at the moment. So
it is a good spot. Sadly, when Disney bought the rights, most of this stuff became non-canon.
Yeah.
Because all the old games and stuff that used to be part of the expanded universe became non-canonized. Unless it appears in modern games with Disney's seal.
Comics and stories that you read that were beautiful, even like the Death Troopers and then the Death Trooper virus, like all that stuff is gone. It's like it doesn't
out
matter.
the window. Actually, no. I think Death Trooper got recanonized in all things a mobile game.
The Death Trooper program, yeah. But I mean,
the program, the virus.
The virus?
Yeah, the virus. I think it got recanonized in all things a mobile game. Do not ask.
Heresy.
Yeah, but
proper justice. What can you do?
But that's the thing. Unless it's in a more modern game with Disney's seal of approval and stuff like that, or a modern book or movie, it's non-canon. Which is unfortunate, but in a way I can kind of see why they did that, because if you looked at the old Star Wars expanded universe, it was a freaking mess. Like, you would need the Encyclopedia Britannica compares nothing to that. Like, if you had a book of the expanded universe, my god, you could fill a library with those volumes.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Brother, Lord
So much deep story that goes and gives you a good understanding of the whole world and all that.
So to some degree, I can kind of understand why they did that when I think about it practically, because it would just be incomprehensible for them to backread everything that's ever been written to make sure they're doing everything justice. It's just easier to say, okay, everything's gone, and we'll just slowly reintroduce stuff we learned about that's good, to kind of make a more manageable story. So to some degree, while I do not like it, I can see why they did it. Hopefully, though, like I said, maybe one day the Old Republic stuff will become canon. I've heard there might be attempts at I heard there might be attempts at, maybe a new TV series which would canonize the Old Republic set in that era. Things like, I would love to see Darth Malgus become canon because he's a really cool character. He's like proto Darth Vader in a a way.
Yeah.
Pirates absconded with
if Darth Vader was actually Darth Vader is a badass, but honestly, Darth Vader before Darth Vader. He even has the breathing apparatus and everything. He doesn't have a helmet, but
I mean, that can easily be fixed.
Yeah, honestly.
It's rigged to explode.
Yeah, but his piercing gaze, who wouldn't want to see that, man?
Family's estate. now occupied by House
I think he's
Davis
almost more
forces.
menacing without the
Without
helmet.
those instructions, we can't pay you.
Perhaps.
But yeah, he's like proto Darth Vader, except if this Darth Vader had neither helmet
You're
nor
obviously
nor
talented
master.
at
He is his
acquiring
own master.
things.
The instructions
Darth Vader
you need
Unchained.
are in a data pad of Tehran
The Unchained
family
edition.
history at
I
our
have
state's
all my
library.
limbs.
If you retrieve that
I
data
have all
pad,
my
you'll
limbs.
add a substantial
Honestly.
bonus to your payment.
And there are some
It will be
additional
interesting to
family
see
heirlooms we'll
what
pay you
goes
handsomely to
down for
recover
this
while you're
expansion,
there.
though, because it does seem from the trailer that it's going to be kind of moral dilemma for the Jedi type of thing, like the type of question that the Jedi have had for quite a long time of, yeah, we're going to just take children, but not all children, even though they clearly show some signs of the Force. We're only going to take the really good ones.
Honestly, it really does expound on the concept that maybe in a way this is Disney throwing a bone to the Old Republic video game, maybe? Like, maybe I could make an argument that since this is a modern
There'll be
expansion in the
valuable
modern
looking
era, that
things
maybe it is
surrounded by
canon? I mean, I
guards.
could make an
Maybe.
argument for that, maybe?
It's
I
I-
doubt
at
it, but I
this-
could make an argument for it.
Literally
I'd like to think
at
that's
this
headcanon.
point,
Don't keep their
literally at
counselors
this
waiting
point,
this
Disney should really
You just want this
rethink
handsome stranger
decanonizing
to
and
yourself.
everything, and at least
Next time,
actually
dear
look
sister,
through some of
you
the
get to
old
beg our
material.
hosts for their
Bring back
footsteps.
Revan.
Yeah, like actually
Give
go
me
through
Revan.
it and really think, okay, what should and shouldn't be decanonized? Because clearly some things need to be reverted back to canon.
I think they're just doing it on a case-by-case basis, just whoever brings it up to them. I think they're like, Revan, for example. Everyone wants Revan back for obvious reasons. And I mean, when
Well,
they do the Old
everyone-
Republic remake, that'll probably do it.
Yeah, it's like everyone likes this time period because there's a lot to it, and it goes and gives you a basis on what happened in the current timeline type of thing.
Yeah, it kind of shows you, like, way back when there was still a lot of Sith and Jedi running around. And the absolute havoc and a half that caused.
I never grovel. I flag.
But,
Goodbye for now.
it is interesting, because it does kind of play with what Disney was attempting to do in the new sequel trilogy, which is this idea that the Sith and Jedi, it's not like good versus evil. Like, when you pick apart the Sith Order and the Jedi Order, they both have their rotten points. And in the case of the Jedi, in the Legacy of the Sith edition, you can kind of see it played with the idea, like I said, that Disney was trying to go with, which, when you look at it, the Jedi were indeed very authoritarian. They did, as Malgus says himself in the trailer, attempt to play God on multiple occasions.
Living that life.
When they're like, I think Malgus's exact words were like, this is how the Jedi and Sith keep power, revealing the ways of the Force to some and keeping it from
This
others.
is already quite a breach of etiquette, you know.
And this is something that they both do, right? And this is something that is kind of expanded on in this expansion. Like this idea that the Sith and Jedi, like the Sith aren't the only ones who are playing Kingmaker in a way.
I didn't call you, Sidonia. You called me.
Yeah.
The only difference is they don't make any bones with them being rotten about
I've
it.
kept you from your business long enough.
Or they don't hide the fact that they're
Please
very
take
rotten with
care
it.
of yourself out there.
Where the Jedi kind of do it with this mask of morality,
Yeah.
which you could almost argue is almost worse.
Yeah.
At
well,
least with the Sith, you know
that's-
you're getting screwed over.
Yeah, it's like that's kind of been the thing when it comes to the Jedi is they're like taking random children and it's like it's deemed worthy from the Force and it's like yes,
Is it though?
but, well, even that it's like yes, but what about all the other people who you leave behind and then you obviously find out later on, oh, they're now part of the Sith. I wonder why.
I wonder why. Yeah.
Could it be you left them alone on like their most vulnerable moment, which could be the most influential, going and obviously creating a new Sith because it's like I can't control these powers. I don't know what to do. Let me show you, young one.
Honestly, like I mean, literally in the Sith Inquisitor campaign that you play in the game, if you pick the class Sith Inquisitor, you literally are an ex-slave that is brought to Kuroban and trained in the Sith Academy. And it's this question of like, well, why didn't the Jedi pick you up? Well, when you look at the Legacy of the Sith, it's probably not hard to see why. Like, especially if you have like, for example, you can set up like a family tree, right? You can have a member that's a Jedi counselor. Well, maybe they got picked up by the Jedi and you were just left behind.
Yeah.
And so eventually the Sith just kind of picked you up.
Oh yeah, there's a lot that just goes deeper into it all, and it's like, well, time for the end.
No, honestly.
I'm not chosen. No one's chosen.
If you can't be chosen, nobody's chosen. None of you are special.
No one's if I'm not special, no one's special.
Honestly.
But it'll be interesting because clearly they are going to be going a little bit into that type of story. So
Interestingly enough, my thing finished updating.
after
Maybe we'll play that later.
After about 20 minutes or so.
Honestly, it did set in the 20-minute mark, so.
There you go.
Well, how long have we been recording? Because we've been.
20 minutes.
It was around the 20 minutes. Okay, so yeah, it was honest. It was about 20 minutes. It was about 20 minutes.
All right. Well, there's that.
But there is that. Yeah. But it is an interesting concept to play with. Like I said, it is kind of. I think this is almost a better way of expanding on the idea that, like I said, Disney was trying to play with the idea that the Sith and Jedi are both kind of rotten when you think about it. Yes, the Jedi constantly condone the Sith for being way too liberal with their use of the Force to the point of being almost self-destructive. But when you think about it, the Sith in this time frame also criticize the Jedi for being way too conservative with their use of the Force. And this again kind of expands on that theory. And the idea that they both kind of play Kingmaker.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know.
Can this wait, NO? I've got 7 bioscans left.
It's
Patrols report a
just an
50%
interesting thing because
increase in
that's kind of what
blaster
ends up
malfunctions.
happening with the Sith and the Jedi, no matter
Okay,
what, is
set up a meeting with the
that
staff
they're all
sergeant.
power
Blast
hungry,
it,
and it's
tell me
like
when guests are here.
I must grow
Acknowledged.
my numbers in order to
Science
survive and
Commander
beat my
Kekana
enemy.
Regional supervisor from
Honestly.
the Organa garrison. Glad you
The
made it.
Jedi were like, let's just raise an army. Yeah, that won't cause any problems.
With a base like this, I'd be glad
Well-
for support too.
You've got
What do you
no
think's
idea.
gonna happen then?
Believe me. Reports say you've done some.
Oh, like I said, the trailer.
Side.
Again, this is from an era of gaming where they don't really tell you much in a trailer. They just kind of teased you with what would happen. And it's this whole idea of like, we see Malgeth in the trailer going after a machine, right?
Said the Yolgo leader
That,
calls himself
according to him, was built by someone. He never says who in the trailer. I'm guessing maybe the Sith, because I really doubt the Jedi would make such a machine. More on that later.
Species called the Killiks.
That basically tracks down, in his own words, the children the Jedi didn't deem
The Vogue
worthy.
swarm, rip apart walkers, whole battalions.
Basically errant Force users, essentially.
Yes.
Which, yeah, I can't see why the Sith wouldn't be interested in that kind of technology. That would allow them to just really swell their
That's
numbers.
what I'd like to
In
know.
fact, they kind of did that
I
in
was
the
drafted as
Clone
science
Wars
commander to find the Killiks'
TV show
weakness,
where
but I need a task force
I think
to
it was
get
Count
inside enemy
Dooku went after
territory.
like
If you can capture a living specimen,
a
I can learn
Datacron
how
with
Olga
like the
makes
names
the next
and
attack
with like the
and stop
names
all
of
this
families
abuse.
that have potential Force users in them.
Yeah. During around the end of the Clone Wars show, eventually a bunch of children were kidnapped, and that was the beginning of the program. In the Star Wars MMO, that new one that came out from EA, where they said single player was dead, and that game proved them wrong. That was actually the beginning program for what would become the Sith Inquisitors during the Empire's reign.
I'm not surprised. They probably now that they have full control, they just kind of expounded on the theory. I mean, it was originally like Sidious's idea, right?
Yeah, during the
Joiners.
Clone Wars, they were
You need
beginning
to
the
assault
program
Killik
and
territory,
starting it up
subdue a
and
joiner under fire,
testing
and bring him
around
here
and
for interrogation.
Palpatine was
This
like, all right, let's see what I can
will
do.
keep him docile.
But
Assuming
yeah,
I can capture
it-
a joiner.
it,
Is that all?
Then he just kinda
obviously
gave it to Vader.
blossomed.
Losing this fight.
Well, no,
If we
I
solve
don't
the
think
Killik
he
problem
gave it.
soon,
Well,
this
no,
place
I
will be
think
overrun.
Vader
he
was
did-
the head of the
Best hope.
Inquisitors.
Yeah, no,
And there'll
Vader
be
was the
no
head, but I think
second
what ended up
chance.
happening is Palpatine would pick and choose who would become an Inquisitor, and in some cases would take children and set up mind control and all that tactics, because that's what he was basically
Mental
trying to
breakdown,
do
too.
during the Clone Wars. But I would bet what ended up happening is eventually over time Vader would take over to go and finish it all up and all that.
Yeah, probably switching from mind control to just mental brainwashing at that point.
Basically. So there's that.
But yeah. So it is not surprising to see the Sith going after such technology. Like in this, if you technically, like I said, bring in the Old Republic, you can arguably say they've done this shit before.
Yeah. So, there's that. There is very much that.
So yeah, it might be in the expansion the whole logic that, you know, we might see what becomes of this machine. Again, it's called Legacy of the Sith, so maybe this is how the Sith end up, like, making more of their numbers. Again, it will depend specifically on where this falls in the timeline, because here's the thing. There is a section of the game, for those who haven't played it, it's not really a spoiler, it's just kind of a chapter in the game that happens. Where an expansion happens, where what is called the Galactic Empire happens, or something like that. Which is basically run by a dude named Vitiate, who maybe or may not be the Sith Emperor reborn, or transmogrified almost Savathun style into a new body. But, you know, that's another tangent for another day. But anyways, he has two sons. One of them ends up becoming a Sith, the other ends up being killed. Again, story for another day. And he wages war on a galactic scale with these two, with the Jedi and the Sith. And he basically destroys both of their orders. The Jedi are all but wiped out, the Sith are all but wiped out. And there's just basically this galactic empire that he runs now. With this kind of empire he's built up in the shadows, like, I don't know, maybe on the edge of space or something. Almost like what Sidious was trying to do in, like, the last of the sequel trilogies.
Yeah.
Only successfully. So, at that point, there really is no Sith, there's no Jedi. Your character, regardless of what side of the Force they were on, kind of leads a resistance. Eventually, you go on to become, if you choose, the new Empire, or new Emperor, after you knock off the last dude. So I guess it's either a choice of being like, the Empire is disbanded, or I am in charge now. I think it's
like,
actually more of just, you can choose whether to, like, side with
Vitiate
or
the
not.
world, or do I let the world take over itself?
Yeah, I think it actually ends with a system where it's like, it's less of like, do you want to run the world or not? It's more like, do I want to side with Vitiate, or do I want to just run it myself?
Yeah.
So in the end, you do end up running the world one way or the other. So if this takes place after the fact, that would make sense why it's called Legacy of the Sith, because at this point there's next to no Sith, there's next to no Jedi, because they've all been hunted down by Vitiate to make sure both the orders are fully stamped out. And if that's the case, that would explain why in this trailer Malgus looks older than he does in most of the Old Republic, where he looks kind of like, I don't know, young middle age.
Yeah.
In this one, he kind of looks older.
Yeah.
So that could just be a result of better cutscene technology.
Either that, or they're kind of moving forward with the timeline a little bit with it. Not too sure.
Also, then again, the Master in this, the Jedi Master that appears in this one, I can't remember his name, also appears to be, like, old himself. So it could be that we're talking about a Malgus who's in his 60s at this point.
Yeah.
So, you know, probably a little bit later in the timeline. So it's possible that this is after everything happened and the Sith Order is trying to rebuild and stuff like that. So we might see the continuation of that storyline and the Sith trying to, like, basically repopulate, essentially. Which would explain why Malgus is after this kind of, like, machine that finds errant Force users.
That ought to fix it.
And the Jedi are trying to destroy it.
Yeah.
But then again, since the Jedi are trying to destroy it, it might not be. It might just be somewhere in the canon that is prior to all this.
Yeah. This is like one of the major events later on in the actual campaign that you come across over time.
Where the Jedi are just trying to, like, destroy a machine that might, you know, give the Sith extra Force users, but also at the same time kind of undermine their authority.
Yeah. Well, there's that. It's
We might eat it on it.
it's obviously got a lot going on with it, and we're certainly certainly going to see a lot of story coming out of that. They're obviously going to have plenty for people to do, that is for sure. So, you will not have no shortage of things to do, that is for sure.
The Old Republic is interesting because it takes place at a very interesting point in history. Just overall. Which is really a nice way of explaining why you can have, you know, this world full of like millions of Sith and millions of Jedi because, you know, kind of like going to Destiny, right? There are multiple players you run into throughout the game, whether it's through like, you know, multiplayer activities or raids. And you could just ignore them, kind of like what Warframe does. Or you could do what a lot of games, like for example Destiny and in this case Star Wars does, which they attempt to canonize it. And in the case of the Old Republic, they really kind of baked the answer of why there's so many Sith and Jedi running around to suggest this is an era where there's just a bunch of Sith and Jedi running around. In fact, the whole opening of the game, to some degree, one of the earliest trailers, which is called The Return, is actually the Sith Empire coming out of hiding with these massive fighters and massive fleets, and you can see they've built up their empire over years.
Yeah.
And then you see them sacking Coruscant, and then another trailer is basically them sieging Coruscant, and you see basically a massive shipload of Sith just crash through the front doors of the Jedi Temple and just wage war against the Jedi. And basically just overrun the Jedi Temple. So it's a massive force on force user battle, so...
Yeah. Well, didn't that technically already happen in the campaign, or isn't that like one
It
of the...
did.
Yeah,
It did.
yeah, so...
Technically, that's the kind of inciting incident of the whole Old Republic era, which is called the Treaty of Coruscant, which is kind of funny because basically crash course on it for the sake of explaining everything. The Sith call a truce, and this is after Revan, right? This is after the whole business with Revan and stuff like that. The Jedi Empire are kind of figuring out what to do with the Sith Empire, and then the Sith approach the Jedi and call a truce, or they approach the Senate and call a truce. And the Jedi are very wary and don't trust the Sith at all, but the Senate is like, well, we don't really have a choice. So they pick up the treaty, essentially, and Republic diplomats and Sith diplomats meet on, I think it was Typhon or some planet somewhere. But during the signing of the treaty, the Sith actually kind of split hairs and used the time before the treaty is signed to basically sack Coruscant, because most of the guards are away most of the kind of like high guards and stuff are away kind of seeing to the treaty signing, right?
Yeah.
So the planet is kind of undefended because both the Republic and Sith fleets are overseeing the treaty to make sure no one does anything. So Coruscant's left undefended. The Sith seize the opportunity and basically sack Coruscant. And it's literally described that they, during this time, took the entire planet hostage temporarily. And basically just destroyed the Jedi Temple. So when the Jedi finally came back after the signing of the treaty, they came back to find their temple in ruins, and the senators blaming the Jedi basically for everything. Which is why the Jedi end up packing up and leaving for, I think that planet they leave to is Typhon.
I think.
It's been a while since I've overviewed the lore.
But yeah, they no matter what, they did basically leave, and it's like, all right, fine then. If you're gonna act this way to us, then.
Basically, yeah. It's like, well, our temple's in ruins. The Senate hates us now, so we're gonna leave and go back to our home world. Fun fact is actually revealed that the Jedi actually have a home world, and again, that's whole Deep Republic lore.
Now, it's not really a home world, more along the lines of this is...
That's where the Force was discovered, and yada yada yada. But, so yeah, that's where the Jedi send up shop. So now the galaxy is kind of perpetually stuck in this treaty, where technically, on the surface, the Jedi can't have any aggressions against the Sith, and the Sith can't have any aggressions against the Jedi. But because right before the treaty was signed, the Sith basically took back basically another stipulation of the treaty was the Jedi have to kind of pull back from some of their battlefronts across the galaxy, which basically led to those planets being swallowed up by the Sith, which is literally their own words, which has led to a galaxy that's literally cut down the middle between the Sith and Jedi kind of authority. And so you're basically in the era, the whole Star Wars The Old Republic kind of story and era takes place in what is essentially a Cold War between the Sith and the Jedi.
Yes. Don't you like Cold Wars?
Honestly, because there's no real open battle they can do against each other. In fact, there are even a few instances where they actually put aside their differences and help each other, albeit temporarily.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you realize that everyone can kind of end up getting killed if you're not careful.
Yeah, I mean, the resurgence of...
You really quickly realize, okay, maybe my power grab fantasy should probably wait a few seconds, because if there's no galaxy for me to have control over...
There's no galaxy to rule, what's the point?
Yeah, I'm probably already screwed.
I mean, that happened with the expansion where they revealed Darth Revan and they brought Darth Revan back. The Sith and Jedi temporarily ceased hostilities to fight Revan. And actually work together temporarily for that. So that's the kind of whole backdrop of the Old Republic game. For those who are wondering, it's basically, to put a long story short, a Cold War between the Sith and Jedi empires. Well, I'd like to say Jedi Empire, but it's more Jedi remnants at this point. Still, they have a lot of influence.
Yeah.
But, so there you go.
Yeah, you've got plenty of story, plenty of stuff to get into. Plenty more to come, obviously.
Interestingly enough, during this time, the Jedi even have an army at their own command. Remember, this is way back before they had the clones and everything, and the Senate's, like, funding and shit like that, so... As far as the deep lore is concerned, once upon a time, the Jedi did have an army that answered strictly to them.
Mm-hmm.
That is mildly terrifying.
Well, I mean, it was basically the same as the Clone Wars era.
Man, well, in that case, it was a Senate-backed army.
Yeah.
Like, it was funded by the Senate, so technically speaking, it wasn't theirs. They were just kind of put in charge of it.
Yeah.
And they were reluctantly playing general in a lot of cases. In many ways, in terrible ways.
You know, really like Clone Wars era then?
Nah. In this case, they are playing general, but it is very much both willingly, and they are at least half competent.
They at least understand warfare on the fundamental level.
Yeah, and they do actually have generals in some cases that lead their armies as well, so...
Yes.
They're not entirely, like... screwing over their own armies. And of course the Sith are the Sith, and, well, let's be honest, they have a lot of soldiers at their command, as per the usual.
Yeah, well, the Sith kind of just be like, yes, you want power? Yes. You want growth? Yes. Money? Yes. Come with me.
That's the funny thing about the Sith in terms of, like, the Sith Empire at this point. You'd expect the people that are kind of under Sith occupation to hate them. And for the most part, the planets they occupy, that is, for the most part, the case. But in cases of, like, their Sith homeworld and stuff like that, there are legitimate, like, there's a lot of people in the Sith Empire who actually like the Sith. Yeah. And there's a reason for that to some degree. And that has to do with the whole sacking of the Sith homeworld that was actually done under the orders of the previous Chancellor at the time. Which gave the people that kind of were under the Sith umbrella a lot of reason to hate the Jedi.
As you do.
So, you actually have people who willingly serve the Sith Empire and who are willingly loyal to the Sith. It's not just kind of like, you will do what I say, or else kind of deal. It is people who legitimately will bend the knee to the Sith.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. That's kind of how it works when you go and create a separate faction. And it's like, alright, we will lead, we will be a separate faction, we will assist you all. only for it to be like, also, we're gonna show how evil these guys are and give you a good reason to want to stay with us.
Yeah, it's like when you play the Jedi, they're like Sith man bad, but when you play the Sith, it's like Jedi man bad.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, you do find a lot more backstabbers among the Sith rank than you do the Jedi for obvious reasons, but there is very much this overall mentality, depending on which side you are, that the other side very much is the enemy. Interestingly enough, there is even one cutscene where, one kind of flashpoint, which is kind of like their equivalent of kind of like a side story in the game, where if you play as a Sith, you get put in charge of like this massive cruiser that your master kind of like commissions to transport you from the training academy to Dromund Kaas, which is basically the capital homeworld of the Sith. You know, the financial hub.
Yes.
And you come under attack by Jedi and stuff like that, and this whole thing plays out. And the crew, in the end, are so terrified of retribution from the Sith that they all basically off-in themselves. You win the battle, but you come back to your carrier to find all of your crew dead except like the high command. And you're like, what the heck happened? And they're like, they were so afraid of retribution they all offed themselves. And it's like, well, okay then.
Thanks for that, guys.
We win the battle, but all of you are dead. I mean, the soldiers and like the high command are there, but like all the bridge officers are just dead. And you walk back and it's like, the heck?
You bastard.
I know I'm a Sith and I'm intimidating, but come on, guys.
I'm
That's
not.
just...
It's like, I need you alive in order for me to succeed.
How am I supposed to
Realize
pilot
that?
this ship? It is kind of funny because, like, how am I supposed to pilot this ship now? You know how to pilot? Good. Get to the controls
You,
and point us to the
engineer,
nearest planet.
you know what you're doing here? Kind of. All right, good enough.
You're hired. Good enough. Get to the controls.
I don't care if it takes us longer to get to where we're going. I just need someone who knows what they're doing.
And I swear to the Force, if one of you hyperdrive us straight into the middle of a sun.
You're killing yourself, so good job.
But yeah, it is kind of interesting. So the whole backdrop of the universe is really, really interesting. Way more original than what Disney tried to do.
Yeah, well, why have originality when you can just, I mean, what?
I mean, honestly.
Well,
ironically, this has more been a video about talking about the Old Republic in general and less about Legacy of the Sith because,
yeah,
well,
I mean,
one,
that's
I
the
was
thing
updating the game.
when you've got something that's very vague on what's going on and what's gonna happen. So it's mostly just up to interpretation on what you think may or may not happen.
I mean, here's the actual description. Actually, I kind of just noticed this now. On the news feed for Steam, which is where the game now is. I mean, the Old Republic again, this is a game from the heydays of MMOs, so it used to have its own, still has its own website and everything. But it also had, a collector's edition you could buy with you remember when you actually bought PC games to install on a disc on your computer? I do. Man, those were the days. I still have some of those discs. Especially this one. I actually have the collector's edition to this game with like a Darth Malga statue. Man, that's a nice statue.
Those were the days.
But anyways, according to them, Legacy of the Sith brings you to uncharted parts of the galaxy, and again, this is me quoting them, while pursuing Darth Malgus. So interesting. It kind of alludes to you'll be pursuing him one way or the other, regardless of if you're a Sith or a Jedi. Interesting they mention that. You'd think you'd be helping Darth Malgus if you're a Sith, but then again, when have the Sith helped anybody?
Yeah, it's like, when have the Sith gone and done anything to help one another? Never.
Never. And apparently they'll explore 2 new planets, so 2 new planets are coming in this, a new flashpoint, and new rewards for Galactic Seasons. So they brought seasons into this, which I'm not surprised. It's the modern, It's kind of a modern MMO thing to do, so I'm not surprised Seasons made their way to the Old Republic. But anyways.
Yeah, and I mean is a fair amount of merit towards Seasons because you can organize things a little more that way. You can get a lot more bang for your.
It's much
buck
more
with it.
structured.
Yeah, like there's a lot of a reason as to why you would want to go and do a season-based thing. So,
according to this, in fact, I just kind of realized this now, so apologies if we spent like what 40 minutes at this point talking and me not realizing this. How long have we been recording?
45.
Okay, so about 40 minutes. So apologies that I'm doing this at the end. But according to this, they got a war between the Galactic Empire and the Sith Empire, or Galactic Republic. So business as usual. Spreads to new worlds. Dangerous threats rise in the corners of the galaxy, and Darth Malgus pursues an unknown plan, as usual. Yeah. Unravel these mysteries as your choices shape the galaxy. That's kind of the whole backdrop of the Old Republic. Shape your own story.
Yeah.
So nothing new there. You got a new planet, which I've never even heard of, called Manon. Sounds like Mancor from like, what was it, Team Fortress gave in a planet.
We're going to Mancor, boys. The machines are invading Manon.
We're going to Manon, a planet owned by, what's the freaking called,
Get me the row of heavies.
Nah, what's the freaking, what's the Australian guy called? The guy who owns Mancor.
Oh. This one's very easy, but alright.
I don't remember his name off the top of my head, forgive me at this moment.
Saxton Hale.
Oh yeah, it's like, we're going to Manon, guys, a planet owned by Saxton Hale.
I own this planet just as one giant reserve, so I can slaughter anything.
I have Buffalo. Why? So I can slap him in the face.
This Yeti is gonna have its own planet, grow for 5 years, and then I'm gonna kill it with my own bare hands.
Honestly, Sexton Hale in a nutshell.
And that's what he would do, so you know.
Honestly, it's Sexton Hale in a nutshell. It's just all violence all the time, mixed with like testosterone out the ass. Yes. But anyways, the Sith Empire has invaded Manon to seize its abundance of Koloto. For those who aren't aware, Koloto is basically again, this is a bit of a lore lesson for people. It's basically the, what's the healing substance that is often used in Star Wars, the more recent timelines and like the Old Republic and stuff like that?
You mean Bacta?
Bacta, thank you. It's basically like the pre-Bacta, Bacta.
Okay.
So if anyone mentions Koloto in the game, it's basically just Bacta before there was. It's basically just a pre-Bacta version. Before they discovered it.
It's Bacta, but before Bacta.
Essentially, it does the same things as Bacta. It's just before they discovered Bacta. So every time anyone mentions Koloto, it's basically the Old Republic's equivalent of the Bacta. Anyways, the vital medical resource on all sides of the war. Like I said, duh. There are underwater facilities, which is why, funny fact, Koloto is actually made through underwater stuff. I can't remember. I think it's made through like plants and stuff like that.
Yes. But
anyways, so it's a planet with a lot of medical resources on it. So I'm guessing this is a water world, because it says a lot of underwater facilities, which will be cool because I don't think there are underwater facilities in the game at all, to my knowledge. So I'm getting like almost Mass Effect vibes here. Where there's like one scene where you can kind of go underground. No, in this case underwater. So that'll be cool if it's a water world. Yeah. And then I honestly read this as Elon for a minute. It's Elam. But I read that as Elon for a second, and I would honestly like that much better. A planet just named Elon.
Okay.
Elon Musk in Star Wars.
Real quick. Yeah, if Elon Musk gets the chance, you never know. You never know. you give anyone the chance to do something like that, and you're like, you never know. You've given me great power. With it, I will do greater things.
Honestly. But anyways, Elam, which is where the story continues apparently, is a planet with a ruined Sith fortress on it that was mysteriously erased from all records, so I'm sure nothing bad happened there at all. Purely above board. Rumors persist that Darth Malgus is on the hunt for ancient relics throughout the galaxy, and may have found something critical to the future of the Jedi and the Sith, so I'm assuming said machine that you see in the trailer may be on Elam.
There you go.
And this storyline will be available as both a solo experience as well as multiplayer Flashpoint, which is kind of nice. It's what I think I've always liked this game because it is a nice balance of multiplayer and single player. Like you can go pretty far in this game just as a single player because most of like the raids and stuff like that are doable by yourself because you have AI companions.
Yeah.
Or in Flashpoints and stuff like that, it's all match made.
Well,
So
not all,
there's never
all flashpoints, I think.
or not flashpoints. Something like a lot of stories and stuff like that. Most flashpoints you can do by yourself because you have AI companions.
Yeah.
But the things that aren't like things like that is match made. So you can go pretty far in this game as a single player. So as a solo player, which I've always liked about this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of content and a lot of building for your character, so.
And then, of course, Galactic Seasons 2, which is Shadows of the Underworld. So if you play Destiny, it's kind of the same thing by the looks of it. They're having, like, seasonal stories in the game, which I think is really nice. Because it allows them to tell, like, seasonal stories.
There you go.
The second season of Galactic Seasons, which launches with Shadows of the Underworld. Starts with the Legacy of the Sith, earn new rewards, exciting things, daily and weekly objectives, so your typical season stuff. And of course what they're introducing now is combat styles, which are separate from their origin story, and of course there's a whole thing there. Itemization revamp, which I think is kind of interesting. Changes to the itemization system to offer players new experiences and ways to obtain gear. This like any MMO, there's a lot of gear that drops, so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Ensures that players have the gear they need to play content they want. Interesting. Maybe they're having a more modern take on the itemization system. Legendary items. This is almost straight out of Destiny in some way. But it's not a bad thing.
This one before.
Not a bad thing necessarily if they do it right.
Yeah.
There's already some level of... I don't know, actually. I don't think there was a... No, there was some level of rarity already with weapons all the way back in the beginning. So... It's not, an entirely new revelation. And of course, like any MMO, with a new expansion comes an increase in the level cap. It's been increased to 80.
There you go.
Again, this is old style MMO, so you're not gonna see any like 1000 power level thing like that. This is old style MMO. Levels do mean something. Do not challenge a level 50 player if you are level 10. You will not win.
Well,
I should know. I'm often the level 50 player.
Well, no, you could if you had another character who was already max level and you're just kind of dumping off some of your lower tier stuff. It's just you're not going to have the abilities and complete tool set in order to actually challenge them properly.
Honestly,
so don't expect an easy fight, at least.
I won't lie.
If you're a new player, don't. Just don't.
I don't know why, but I remember on my original Sith character, because this is actually an MMO where I do have multiple characters, and I just kind of do that for replayable, like, story value. But regardless, I remember after I was like level 30 or 40 or something like that, I went back to like the beginner planet for the Sith, if you're a Sith, one way or the other. Where, you have like level 1s and 3s and 5s, and I think it goes up to like level 10. Of, new players coming in and out. And I would just go around challenging new players to a 1v1. Because you can do that in this game as well, just straight up 1v1 right then and there. And of course, most people rejected me. But I did get one person that accepted. One level, I think it was 2 fighting a guy who's level 30.
Fine, I'll accept it. I'm probably going to die, but it's alright.
Honestly, it's like one level 3 or 2 player with beginner gear that you just basically fresh off the first story thing, challenging a level 30 player with maxed out with customized gear and shit like that. Oh, I smacked him, but man, I think I was, like I said, I was just kind of like seeing if anyone would take me up on the offer. Not seriously. I think I was just doing it to, I don't know, just troll or something, I guess. But I didn't expect anyone to actually take me up on the offer till someone did. And it was as one-sided as you can imagine it would be. A single slap and one swing of the blade, and down he went.
So, side quick note, if you are a store player and you
I'm not evil.
yeah, but if you are a Star Wars Old Republic player, note they've completely changed the UI and everything, and
I might see that later today to see what that looks like actually.
yeah,
I don't.
I just went into the inventory and now I don't even know how to equip my own helmet again because apparently I unequipped it and now I can't re-equip it.
No, I can't. Where's my helmet?
Yep.
B2, where's my helmet?
Oh, there. Okay. Wait a minute.
I like how one of the things to kind of lead off your thing is experience a smoother overall player experience through several improvements, including an updated character creation journey, which actually now I've got to see. Maybe I might start a whole new character again just to see how that looks. And new looks for your character sheet, inventory, and much more. So tell me, is it improvement? As they claim it is?
Well, seeing that I used to be able to go to my character sheet and then bring out my inventory and just drag an item piece onto the certain respective armor selection spot, seeing that I can't do that.
Apparently, according to this, the new interface allows you to create presets for your gear as well. So another more modern concept of
figured
MMOs.
it out.
Better?
Okay, so I was in the... Okay. Why can I de-equip items in the loadout section then? This doesn't make a sense! Explain.
As part of the 10th anniversary, the Anniversary Personal Vendor will be available on the fleet until January 2023. Again, throughout their entire anniversary. Their inventory will be updated to include new rewards and the best view of SWTOR? Star Wars The Old Republic content decorations.
There you go. So, as it is, you've got plenty to do. Oh, hello there, friend.
Yep, it is an old MMO from the glory days that it seems they're introducing more modern MMO concepts into it, maybe to attract new players and stuff like that. I wouldn't blame them. I think within the last, 2 years they put this on Steam, and they took it off their official, well, they still have their official website that you can download and do your own, this personal the launcher for it and everything still.
Yeah, but I mean, most people who have a PC are probably using Steam or maybe some other application, but most are using Steam.
Yeah, so it's a clever way to kind of get more
people. Some people will download from like the direct source when you're on the PC, but even then, it's like
that is the day that is long gone of people downloading from direct sources.
Yeah.
So I think it was good for them to put it on Steam and get more people to do it, because if you're on Steam, you might discover it by accident, and there's a new game for you. It's a good game too.
Yeah.
And again, there is cross-save and cross-play between. If you have an old account from back in the day, like I did, you can still use all your all of your characters, items, and everything on the Steam account as well, because again, EA runs everything through Origin and stuff like that. So the saves are all probably kept on their servers specifically as well. So don't worry about losing anything if you ever migrate over to Steam for the sake of simplicity. I did. And it's basically just a different way to start the game and launch your stuff. In fact, I might even just start the game to see how this looks.
I think
as we're talking,
the only thing that I noticed right off the bat is the little cards on the left side when you that shows like the different characters that goes and tells you if you've actually completed like a specific character campaign or not. They've changed the little like icons. Instead of being what they normally are, like their colored icon, like a blaster, a lightsaber, and all that, they've changed it to these silhouettes almost.
Oh.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
Well, I mean,
I don't particularly know why. I mean, I like to actually be able to see all that. But I mean, I guess the smuggler one doesn't look too bad because you know you got like what kind of looks like an actual smuggler bounty hunter type guy doing a thing. So you know, whatever, whatever.
Also, I found out that there is a point shop associated with this thing, and oh my god, they have Jawa emoticons.
Yeah.
Give me all of them.
Yes.
Give me your Jawa.
You like a Jawa? I give a Jawa.
And profile backgrounds and stuff, so I might use stuff like that. But yeah, I'm a fan of Star Wars. I'm a fan of this game. I would recommend it to anyone. Again, it's an MMO from the glory days of the MMOs, so, or computer-based MMOs. So,
Yep. Play
from the
it
old
if
golden age gold rush.
You'd like to enjoy these kinds of things.
And yeah, like the graphics are dated because again, it is a 10-year-old game.
Yeah, but it's not like on the same level like original StarCraft graphics. You know that one game that I played a little bit ago where I was playing as the Terrans and there were these weird Protoss alien looking things.
If you remember that live stream.
Yeah, like it's not really dated graphics like that make it look like it's an 8-bit game almost. Like
Yeah, no, it is still.
There are graphics. There's a lighting system, and it's a nice in between where it's like if you like some bit of an old like game, but not actually that old because it's still being constantly updated and given new content.
It is still updated.
Then,
yeah, you will get new content. It is kind of like in the same position that WoW is, and kind of the same position that things like Elder Scrolls Online are as well. Where they're old games, sure. They look a little dated, sure. This one obviously more than the Elden Ring Online or Elder Scrolls Online. But you get the point. But they are still getting updates, and there are still, there is still support for these games. So
Yep.
they're not dead.
Nope. Far from it.
Far from it, yep.
So there's that. Hopefully you get a bit of an idea on what to expect if you are interested in playing it yourself, kind of. Like I said, some of the UI has changed, so if you're used to that, you're probably gonna need to take a quick second and run around on the UI, be like, what's
Like
this?
I am about
What
to
is
do.
this? Oh god, how do I find this or how do I undo this? But
Man, now it's gonna take a minute to readjust to this. But it'll be interesting to see this. I'm about to look at it. We will see.
so what you wanna you're wanting to end this off being able to see it yourself then?
Yeah, what the heck? Why not? We'll make this. We'll make the last few minutes of this live stream show a reaction to me looking at this old thing. Malgus looking as ugly and evil as ever. I remember playing this on. I remember playing this on my PC back in the day when I was like, what, 15, 16, before then even. All right, I'm gonna do my new Sith character, Edemon the Sith.
Edmund.
Oh yeah, they did change the icons. Interesting. I don't know. I think I like the old ones better.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me, though.
Well, no, I like the old ones too, because they were actually detailed and they don't all kind of meld together in the same color set palette.
Yeah, they were much easier to tell apart, too.
Yeah, like you could not only tell them apart, but you could know very easily. It's like, ah, yes, that's my bad boy. I like the bad.
Like, there are some that I can tell apart. Like, for example, I can tell the bounty hunter apart from the smuggler.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to kind of do a double take on like the Sith like Jedi and the Sith the Sith Inquisitor and the Sith Counselor.
Yeah.
Or the Jedi Counselor. Ah, that old Star Wars music. How I've missed you. From the good days.
Oh,
Legacies of old.
clearly someone enjoys.
Tulak Horde. Man, the Sith get all the cool names.
Yeah.
Imagine naming your kid after that. What is your son's name? Tulak Horde.
What is his name? Tulakarg.
Tulak Horde. Oh, gods. Wow. Oof. Took a double take there for a second. I am on Tatooine, I think. No, I'm not on
Well,
Tatooine.
no, I'm on the Starforge servers, so yeah, remember that part.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure out what planet I'm on.
Ah,
Let's see, what planet am I on? I am on Nomaru's Palace, so probably somewhere in the Hut sector. I'm on Hutta. Okay, that makes sense. I have really no reason to be here, so I'm just gonna kind of leave. Galactic Seasons. Ooh. Clash in hyperspace. New graphical settings are available. Yes, let me give it.
give it to me. Give me the graphics.
Give me those pretty graphics.
Give it.
Meh, not bad. Hutta. Honestly, I have no reason to be here because the Sith Inquisitor has no story missions here, so I'm just gonna go back to the spaceport and leave because
As you do.
I'm getting some side eyes from the bounty hunters.
And bounty hunters be sitting there like,
Why is he here?
Why are
I don't
you
remember
here?
doing anything wrong. I don't do anything wrong, I think.
it's like, why are you here? That one time you showed up with a bounty hunter.
Honestly, the one time I showed up with a bounty hunter and now I'm just like here. I'm just gonna head back
Wait a
up to
minute,
space.
where's the bounty hunter?
Honestly. Come on, Gunval. Let's get out of here. I'm getting side eyes from the local populace.
Yeah, I think the population doesn't like me being here. I think they
Wait,
all
not
might
the-
gang up on me at this rate.
Crap! Now I have to figure out where the spaceport is.
You fool. It's right on the other side of the Hutta Palace.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
you just keep going past. Yeah, you keep walking past that. It shouldn't be too hard to find, really, but you know.
No. Okay. Yeah, no. I see it. I see it now.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Good job. Good job. Dun.
Ah,
Best
shit.
game. Best game.
Best game. Honestly, though, it's if you can tolerate the older generation graphics and stuff like that. I admit I'm a graphics Nazi, but that's for more modern games. Games like this, they're very nice looking, so I don't mind. Also, I think the new graphics options make it look decent, honestly. Guild invite. I don't want your guild invite! Go away! Yeesh!
I am a Sith warrior. I do not need a
I'm a
guild.
I am a Sith Inquisitor. I am high up in the Sith Council. I will report you to your superiors. Whoops, that's the Imperial Agent hanger. Yeesh. Only 3 minutes and I'm getting invited to guilds.
It's like, I'm a high-level player. I guess they really like me.
Honestly. Bounty Hunter. Where is it? Where is it? Probably off to the side somewhere. How dare they put a Sith hanger off to the side? This is intolerable.
You dare do this to me? You peasants.
Honestly, there isn't even a spaceport here for. There isn't even a spaceport here for the Sith. I have to take a fucking. Sorry, this is a kid show.
Not a kids show. What do you mean?
Okay, that's a lie. But There's not even a spaceport for the Sith here. I have to take a bloody
I have to take the
shuttle
long
up to
way.
the space station, back up to orbit. I'm going back to the Imperial fleet. Actually, I'm going straight to my ship. I didn't even know there was a thing to go to my ship. Driver, take me back to my ship.
Take me back to the fleet. I'm done with this planet.
Honestly, just go. Honestly, just take my freaking the shuttle. Driver, take me back to my ship. I am done with these peasants. Freaking like has electricity in his hands. Done with these peasants.
I'm pretty sure you can handle that.
Okay,
Still
that's
in
16
combat.
to 17. Oops, that's Hada. Narshada. This is 20 to... Okay. I'll go to Bestmoth then. Actually, I'll just go to the Imperial Fleet.
Yeah.
Driver, take me to the Imperial Fleet. I wish to console. While I'm in the middle of transit, achievements. Badges that recognize your major accomplishments. View your legacy panel. A prestige points. Ooh.
Well, I guess these guys wanted to challenge a bounty hunter that badly, but they couldn't just.
Let me guess, you won.
Oh, obviously. wait. When you're 10 higher than the planet cap, yeah, just a bit. I think I may be good. Although I am playing the smuggler, I consider myself basically a bounty hunter, especially with some of the choices I've already made thus far with the character. It's like,
Let me
yes,
look at my
money, give it to me.
datacrons. Let me look upon my datacrons. Yes.
Anyways, I think we should wrap this up.
I think we'll
we're
wrap
turning
this
this
up
into
here.
a let's play emoticon.
Turn it into a let's play. Yeah. All right. I hope you enjoyed. This has been the midweek report. Again, that has been our take on the new Legacy of the Sith.
Yep.
And again, if you want to see the trailer, it's linked down in the description, or not description. It is the description. So if you want to see that, link down there. It's honestly a very beautiful trailer. You wouldn't even know that it's like advertising a 10-year-old game at this point. Honestly, it looks like it's from like modern day. That's just how good the cinematography is.
Yep.
So, again, there you go. That's a wrap. I'm Nick. This is Justin. Like, subscribe, do all the usual shit.
Yeah. Hopefully.
This has been the midweek report.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed. We'll see you next week.
Yep. We'll see you next week. Good night.